with the launch of the next Pokemon Scarlet DLC, Area Zero, and the Hidden Treasures. Going to be releasing here in about, at least I'm making this video, about 2.5 weeks. We got a bunch of older transfer mons that are going to be then legal and being able to be found in the DLC or being able to be brought over to the game with Pokemon Home. And that gives us a lot more new Pokemon that are going to be seen in competitive, whether it's singles or VGC. So I kind of want to do a VGC kind of tier list for all the new Pokemon that are going to be transferred over and being into the game when the Area Zero Treasures DLC does drop here in a few weeks. So that being said, hopefully you guys like this video. It's going to be a really long video. If you guys do not want to watch the video, there's not going to be too much on screen. It's mainly the tier list. I'm going to be on Showdown going through movesets and kind of talking about Terras and stats and that type of thing. So if you guys do want to tab out and just listen to this video in the background, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. And if you guys like these tier list videos, leave a like. Really helps out. And with how much editing I'm going to have to put into this video, it's probably going to be an over an hour video, I'm assuming. So it's going to be a lot of editing. So a like would really help on the support for this video, especially with how much time it'll take to edit and probably upload and everything. So that being said, I'll throw the list on screen for you guys right now if it's not already. Probably should already be on screen. These are all the mons that are going to be getting transferred over, all the way from Alcremie down to Zebstrika. Now, the only two mons here that I actually see that are actually missing are Superior and Embor. So if you guys see any other Pokemon that are also going to be getting transferred over and they are not on this list, let me know in the comments down below. Those are the only two ones that I noticed, so I will be talking about those two first. And then we have some other mons that are already in the game for some reason. I'm not sure when this list was actually made, but it has the majority of them. So apart from that as well, let me know in the comments down below which DLC, like, do all these mons get put into the game and are able to be transferred over with the Area Zero Treasures like DLC, or like half of these mons also just going to be waiting until the Teal Mask in October or November when that DLC drops. I'm not 100% sure. I'm assuming all these mons are going to be in the first DLC, and then we're going to have an entire new batch of mons later in the year. I'm assuming that's how it's going to work, because if they release half of these at the start, it doesn't really make much sense, because that's only maybe like 30-40 mons, and for a DLC, when you're charging that much for a DLC, it doesn't really make that much sense. So I'm assuming all of these are going to be coming on over with this first DLC wave. But that being said, let's get right into this. Now it's going to be a list. I have S tier, A plus tier, A tier. There's going to be a list mainly for VGC. I will be talking a bit about singles too, but this is going to be mainly a VGC tier list with all these new Pokemon that are coming into the game. Just keep that in mind. Apart from that, let's get right into this. First off, we got Alcremie. This thing had some decent DLC, or not DLC, VGC play back. I think it was Gen 8. I think it was either Gen 8 or Gen 7. It was one of those. I know it was high on... There was like a set going around with Alcremie, and he was on a really popular team. But apart from that, you didn't really see it that much. I'm going to put it in B tier. I don't think it's really that good. I really don't. It's really niche. I think there's only like one team that's seen success with in the past. Keep in mind as well with a lot of these mons, like, we don't know if like any of these Pokemon are also going to be getting stat buffs or like any type of move pool changes as well as of now. So a lot of that stuff is kind of just questionable. I'm just going to be going off of what they've had in the past and what they still have, because we don't know any of that info as well. So next we got Ambipom. Ambipom right now, I think once it gets transferred in the game, I think out of all the normal types in the game, I think it's probably the strongest like fake out last resort user, which can be pretty good. It also gets a really solid move pool. It has really solid stats, base 115 speed, not too bad. Not too bad, and it has decent move pool. I don't know how much you're going to really be seeing it. I'll maybe put in like A tier. I think it might be a little bit better in singles than it is in doubles for VGC, so I'll put it in like an A tier. Next, I want to actually talk about Superior, which is actually going to be coming to the game as well. I think Superior is really good. If Superior, it's not on this list, but if it was on the list, I would probably put it in like an A tier. I think it's going to be one of the better grass types that does come into the game. The only thing that's really going to be competing with, it's going to be competing with Victory Bell, Venusaur, and then Amoonguss is like the premier 3 grass types probably. But 2 of those are usually going to be really good in the sun most times. And then this one kind of has its own niche with Contrary. I might be a little bit biased as well because one of my favorite starters is Superior. It's my favorite Gen 5 starter. I love this thing. It's great. With Contra, I think it's really cool. I'm also really going to be putting a team around this thing. It's like they're going to be the first mon I kind of build around when this gets transferred over to the game for this new wave. I really want to build a VGC team around like Contrary Superior. I think it'd be really good. Plus, you can also Terra this thing. I think like a Terra Water would be pretty good on this thing. You get a +2 with Leaf Storm. You don't even really need to run that max speed either. Sometimes it depends what you really want on speed. I would just run enough to maybe outspeed like base 100s, maybe base 105s, and then you can run enough into like bulk and then run max special attack and put the rest into bulk, make you a little bit more bulky. It also gets a decent move pool. The moves don't pop up because it's illegal. Fortunately, I think I have to change the format to National Dex for it to actually pop up move pool. There we go. I had it on nothing, that's why it was popping up. It also gets Coil, gets Dragon Pulse. It also gets Terra Blast. I think like a Terra Blast Water would be really good for this thing. It says Hidden Power, but Hidden Power is not in the game. That's a thing in National Dex. Like I said, we don't really know a lot of the move pools for all these mons and what extra moves or moves that'll be possibly getting deleted from these mons that it's going to really happen. So just going based off of what they've had in the past, that's kind of what we're going based off of right now. So overall, I think Superior is going to be really good, though. I'd probably throw it in like an A tier. Really looking forward to actually building a team around this mon. There's also some stuff I've been thinking about, like maybe like Tornadus or some other stuff like Prankster with like Scary Face and get that like a +2 speed proc on Contrary or something would be kind of cool. I don't know. And then we got Embor I'll talk about real quick since it's not actually on the list. I think this thing would be solid. The only problem with this thing is its speed stat is so low. It might be decent in Trick Room, but there's just a lot of other Trick Room mons that it's going to be really competing with in doubles. It really is. But this thing does hit like a truck. It really does. It has really solid move pool as well. Fire moves. Flare Blitz. Brick Break ain't too bad. Or EQ ain't too bad. Heat Crash if you really want to run that. Bunch of other stuff. So, I don't know. It just comes down to what you really run on. I think you can maybe see it on like a Trick Room team. But even then, it's kind of not really slow enough to be on a Trick Room team sometimes. I don't know, maybe like a really bulky set Assault Vest wouldn't be too bad. I don't know. I'd probably put it in like maybe B tier. I think for right now, I don't think you're going to see it that much. Unfortunately, I think this mon will be way better in singles. I can see this thing in singles being like a really good choice band mon or something. A really, really solid mon. But I think in VGC, I don't think it's going to be that good. Back to the list, we got Araquanid. I don't think you're going to really see Araquanid that much, but I think this mon is really underrated. I think it's a really good mon, especially with how hard this thing can actually hit. It's really bulky, and it can hit pretty damn hard. And if you also get this thing Terra, being able to Terra with this thing gives it another really huge buff. Arbok, this is one of my favorite mons. One of my favorite OG mons, but man, is it fucking garbage. I don't think you're ever going to see this thing in VGC when it gets put into the game. Let's go look at Arbok real quick. The problem with this thing, like, look at its stats. Like, keep in mind, like, it might get some stat buffs or something. We don't know yet, but, like, keep in mind, this thing has nothing over base 100. It's a real shame. Justice for Arbok. Hashtag justice for Arbok in the comments down below. I don't know about you guys, but Arbok is such a cool mon, and it's just so bad. It's so bad. One of my favorite, like, OG mons way back in the day. It has a solid move pool as well. Like, it has a decent move pool. Glare is really good. Coil's really good. It has Intimidate and Shed Skin, which ain't too bad. It's just garbage. Like, that's the main problem with it. I think even with Terra, like, Terra doesn't really matter because its stats are just so bad. I don't really know what to even run with this thing. Like, I would really want to build a team around Arbok. I really do. At the same time, I feel like I'm just wasting my time with how bad this thing really is. And I just wish it was better. I'd probably put it in like a D tier. I don't think you're going to be seeing it at all. It's really bad. Ariados, I guess if you want Sticky Web, it would be good. But like the Galvantula is also being transferred over for this patch. So why would you run Sticky Web when you can run either Smeargle if you want that as well, which is faster, or Galvantula? There's no reason to use this thing. Bastiodon, this thing's garbage. Terra makes it a little bit better, so you can take away some of your 4x weaknesses. But apart from that in doubles, it's going to be really bad. Blossom, this thing's pretty bad. I think the only thing that has going for it is it has Quiver Dance. Maybe you can run some cheeky stuff with like Chlorophyll, Quiver Dance, or Growth or something, but even then there's so many other better Sun Sweepers. Blastoise I think is going to be solid. I put Blastoise in like an A tier. I think Blastoise would be a little bit more consistent in singles though. You gotta, if you really want to make it work, it's either supportive in VGC, or if you want like to be a sweeper, you gotta try to get a Shell Smash up freely, and there's a lot of other better mons, at least for water types right now, especially with Urshifu being in the game, that you're not going to really want to run this thing, especially if you want to have to set up with it to actually do stuff. Blaziken I think is going to be solid. Speed boost Blaziken as well, I think it's going to be pretty damn good. I don't know what it would really do that much, but it's always been really consistent in the past as well. It's always been a really solid mon in VGC. Chandelure, really good mon. I don't know how good it's really going to be though, because it's kind of slow. And it also loses to Flutter Mane and Urshifu, which are like the two best things in the format right now, at least when I'm recording this. And I'm assuming they're still going to be like two of the best things in the format, even after the DLC drops. So that's the one thing that's kind of holding it back. I'll probably put like B tier because I don't think it's that good. Terra makes it a little bit better, but even then it's still kind of too slow. Schmecko's garbage. I don't know how that thing is still in the game and it's that bad. Cincino I think it has potential, but I think this is a mon that's just purely way better in singles. I think it has Skill Link and like Technician. It has a really solid move pool, and it has a decent support move pool, but it's just so frail. And if you want a normal type, there's just a lot of better normal types to use. Clefable I think is going to be really solid. I'll put Clefable at A+. And then Clefairy I think is going to be solid as well. Like Eviolite Friend Guard is also really good. Clefable is going to be crazy in singles, though. I think that mon's going to be busted in singles, and especially you give this thing Terastallization. I think with Terastallization in this game, this thing's going to be even better than it was in the past couple gens. Comfey has always been really good in VGC. It's mainly a mon that was kind of designed for VGC. In singles, it's been really bad, but like it's a really supportive mon. Tri-Edge is really good. Has a really good supportive move pool. I'll put it like an A tier. Conkeldurr under Trick Room I think is really good. It's a really good Trick Room Guts mon. The only thing it's really competing with is Ursaluna, but at the same time, Ursaluna does not have Mach Punch, so I think the one thing that's going to really set Ursaluna and this thing apart is that Conkeldurr gets Mach Punch in a Terra Fighting Mach Punch with like Guts boosted with how much attack this thing has. It's going to really hit like a truck. I think that's the one thing you're going to really be picking it over Ursaluna for. Cramorant, I don't know what this thing really does, but I'm going to put it at C tier. I've never seen this thing played at all. I think there was a few teams that had it in the past few gens, but I'm not sure. Groudon's going to be really good in singles, but I don't really know about in VGC. I think if you really want to use the thing, you're going to have to really build a team around it. The problem is it's just way too slow. I think it's like base 55 speed. And if you want a Rain Mon, there's just so many other better options, which we'll be talking about in this video as well. Dugong, really cool mon. I think Dugong's a really, really cool mon, but it's just really bad. I probably put it like D tier. I don't think you're ever going to see this thing. Same with Dodrio. Really cool mon. Has the normal flying typing is a pretty good typing offensively, but in VGC this thing's you don't see it at all. It's just pretty much usually maybe once in a while you'll see it in singles, but VGC you're not going to see it. Duraludon's really cool because now we actually know this thing actually is going to be able to use Eviolite. So I'm not quite sure really where to put this thing on the list. I probably put it like B tier. I don't know, just for like right now, because I'm not sure how it'll really play out with all the other stuff. I think Dusclops would be great. This thing gets Trick Room, and it gets a bunch of supporting moves. Pressure is really good. Frisk is really good. With the Eviolite, this thing is probably the most bulky Trick Room sitter in the entire game, apart from Cresselia, and you also have the Terra now, so even if you're like weak to like a ghost move or a dark move, you can probably just Terra into like a normal type or something, or like a defensive Terra if you really want to. It's really, really good. Dusknoir, there's no reason to use Dusknoir when Dusclops in the game. Electivire, really, really cool mon. I don't think this mon's going to be that good in VGC though. There are some strategies where you can kind of use Shock Drive. I think that's what this thing gets. I don't know what it's Electivire. I forgot what it's. Or Motor Drive. Like, Motor Drive ain't too bad as well. Like, it gives you a +1 speed boost if you get hit by an electric move. So there are some teams that use, like, Discharge and that type of thing for like, a team and stuff. And, like, just spam Discharge and go off of, like, Motor Drive and Volt Absorb and that type of thing. But apart from that, that's really rare. I think those teams are really niche and not too good. So, unfortunately, really cool mon. I just put it really low. Not really as bad as the other ones, but not really good. I think Empoleon's going to be okay. The problem with this thing is it has Defiant, but it can't really take advantage of it. And I think it also lost Roost for this gen. I think it used to get Roost. I don't know if it has it anymore, but I think it also lost Roost, at least from what people said. Excadrill's going to S tier. What a surprise. This will be the thing that actually makes Sand good again, because right now Sand is not really that good currently when I'm recording this. Like, the best Sand sweepers in the game right now are Houndstone and Lycanroc, which are kind of just mid at best. Lycanroc ain't too bad, and Houndstone is kind of... it's more situational if you can get the ball rolling with that thing. But, like, Excadrill's always been a mon that takes Sand teams to the next level with how good this thing is. The Steel ground typing is just so good as well. And then you add Terastallization to that as well. On top of that, and makes this thing incredibly good. I think Alolan Exeggutor is going to be really solid as like a Trick Room mon. A really solid Trick Room user. Exeggutor in the Sun can be decent. I'm going to put it like a B tier because it does have some niche in like Sun teams and maybe some Trick Room teams. Feraligatr, really cool mon. Really like Feraligatr, but it's just not that good. I have to put it in like C tier. You can maybe use it in like a rain team, but like you're forced to either run like Sheer Force, Life Orb to get decent damage, and then you're not really that fast. Or you have to try to set up a Dragon Dance and then try to sweep in the rain, and there's just so much other better water mons in the rain. It's just outclassed, unfortunately. Flygon's a really cool mon, but I feel like this thing over the last like 2 or 3 generations, this thing's just been power crept to no end. It had great stats back in Gen 3, but ever since like Gen 6, this thing has been like everything else has been getting better, and like every single new like all the new dragon types, every single gen just kind of push this thing down the ladder, unfortunately, and that it just gets power crept to no end. I think it has base 100 speed and 100 attack. Something like that. I think 100 special attack. So you can run it mixed if you really want to, but I don't know what you really do with this thing. I'll probably like put it like a B tier. It does have Terastallization going for it now, so you can get rid of the ice type weakness, but I'm not sure what you really put. I think it's just power crept, and there's way better dragon types. For it, this thing's garbage. Galvantula for sticky web ain't bad, so I'll probably put it like a B tier just for sticky web purposes, but apart from that, you're not going to be seeing it very much. Gliscor, we don't know if this thing actually has Defog or not either, and if it has Toxic. We're not sure yet if those 2 moves actually got deleted off of it. So I'd probably put it like an A tier because this thing also has Terra. Being able to get rid of your 4 times ice weakness is really good. But the main problem with it is it's competing for a spot that Landorus has. But it does do a little bit of a different thing. It's a lot more bulkier, and you also have the Toxic heal and a few other things, so... Alolan Golem, I don't know what this thing actually would really even do. I don't think it's going to be good at all. Same with a regular Golem. Maybe with like a sturdy explosion set would be pretty good. Because I know the thing's got explosion. There were teams like back in the day that would run like a ghost type and like sturdy explosion. And they'd have like a weakness policy explosion or like +2, and like it would delete everything on the enemy team, but you'd have a ghost type so it wouldn't affect you. It is a really good explosion user. I guess maybe for the other Golem as well, but I think the normal one would probably be better. Apart from that, you're not going to be seeing it at all, though. Golurk, decent in Trick Room. A decent Trick Room mon, but apart from that, you're not going to see it very much. Granbull, I don't know why you'd use this thing. The only thing it has going for it is an Intimidate, and apart from that, you're not going to see it very much. Maybe more of a singles mon. Hitmonchan, not really too good. Hitmonlee is eh. There's some stuff you can do with Unburden. Like, there's a few Unburden sets, like Fake Out with, like, a normal gem, and there's a few other things with, like, the Electric Seeds and the Grassy Terrain Seeds and stuff, but apart from that, there's just a lot better Unburden users. Hitmontop's, I think, is going to be decent. I'll put that, like, an A tier. Just with the supportive capabilities and then being able to have, like, a really bulky supportive mon. This thing has really good bulk, especially with the Intimidate. It's really solid. Illumusate, it has Prankster. Like, I don't know what move pool this thing actually gets. Like, let's look at the move pool real quick. Illumusate. Like, what does this thing actually get that would actually be good for Prankster? If this stuff actually comes back. Like, we're just going based off of national dex moves. So, I don't know. Tailwind, Prankster, Tailwind. Thunder Wave, Wish. Attract. Charm. I don't know. There's just so many. There's a lot of other better like prankster users, unfortunately. So I probably put this in like C tier just because it can work, but there's just so much other stuff. It's in a row. I probably put an S tier. You add terrestrialization to this thing, I think it's going to be still incredibly good, even if not even better than last gen. It's always been a beast in VGC. Infernape, I think, is going to be solid at like an A tier. Probably put that in A tier. Nothing with it's really changed though, at least as of now that I know of. Kingdra, I'm going to put it in A plus tier. I think out of all the rain sweepers we're getting, this is probably the biggest rain sweeper because this thing can now also Terra, which is huge for this thing. And it is also a really solid typing. The dragon and water typing is a really unique typing and a really good offensive typing. And then you can also like offensively Terra into like something that can beat fairy types into like a steel type or even like a poison type. And having like a Terra blast and that type of thing just destroys those. So you can also get through the fairy types now, which was the main thing it would struggle with back on older rain teams. Really solid mon. I can't wait to use Kingdra. I think it's going to be really, really good on rain teams. I think the two best rain sweepers are going to be Basket Legion and Kingdra. I think that's what you're going to start seeing a lot more of. Como, I think, is really good. I'm going to put Como at an S tier. You give this thing Terrestrialization, then you also have Clangorous Soul and Clangorous Scales. It's a great mon. Really good mon. Lapras, too bad this thing sucks. Not too good. Leavanny gets Sticky Web, and I think it also gets Chlorophyll, but typing is really bad. I don't think you're going to see this very much at all in VGC. If you do, it's going to be really niche. Ludicolo is a decent rain sweeper, but I'll put it in B tier for that. But apart from that, it's not too good because of its stats. Its stats aren't the greatest. Magcargo, man, a really cool mon. I just wish it was better. I mean, it gets a bit of a buff because of Terrestrialization, so you can get rid of some of its 4 times weaknesses. But even then, it's just the stats are really bad. Its move pool isn't the greatest. Magmortar, I'll put it like a C tier. Not too bad. I wouldn't say it's bad as some of these D tier mons. Malamar, I'll put in like a B tier. There were some crazy teams with this thing with like Contrary going around. Contrary Superpower, and there's a few other teams that was put on in back and they did relatively well. Mammal's Wine, I think, is really solid. A plus tier. Really good offensive typing. Really, overall, it's incredibly good mon. You can kind of throw it onto a lot of teams and kind of build a team around it, and it's probably going to do really well. Same with Mandibuzz. Really solid mon. Nothing with it really changed. Swampert's going to be really good. I'll put it like an A tier. Just mainly because of the typing alone, and it's Swampert. It's really, really good. Meganium, unfortunately, this thing sucks. Really cool, underrated starter, but unfortunately, it's still really bad. Meowstic female, not that good. Meowstic male, though, is the one that actually has Prankster. I'm going to put this one at like a B tier. Mainly because it has Prankster, and it is a Prankster that is a Psychic type Prankster mon that both gets, I think it's Thunder Wave, I think it also gets Yawn, and then double screens. There's a few other things it gets over a lot of other Prankster mons, so it does have a niche in that way. And you're also really fast, too. I think you're one of the faster Prankster mons in the game. Metagross, I think I'm an A+. Really solid mon, especially with Terra. This I think is going to be really good. You can run a lot of builds with this thing, and it's also really solid move pool. Mienshao. I mean, with the Regenerator, it ain't too bad. It also gets Fake Out and a few other things. It ain't too bad. I'll put like a B tier. Mightyena is a really cool mon, but man, it's really bad. You're not going to see this thing at all. I don't know, if I see a team that it's somehow built with around Mightyena and somehow makes it work, I'll definitely test it for you guys on the channel because it's a really cool mon. Same with like an Arbok team if anybody makes a VGC team around that, but I won't be the one to do it because I feel like I'll be wasting my time with how bad it is. Milotic, I'll put an A tier. Solid mon. Minior, I'm not sure where this thing really fits in. I really don't. I'd probably put in like mainly for like a singles list higher. I think it's better in singles than VGC. Minun, I don't know why this thing's being brought back because it's garbage. Morpeko could be decent, but I'll put it in a C tier because you just don't see this thing at all. Maybe a bit of an underrated spot for it on this list. Let me know in the comments down below. Alolan Ninetales, this thing's going to S tier. Every time Alolan Ninetales is allowed, it makes Snow so much better. You get the Aurora Veil, you get a really solid typing with the Ice, and Fairy typing is a really good typing. You're weak to Steel types, but then you also have Terrestrialization now as well, which you can use to kind of negate that defensively. Really solid move pool, really solid speed stat. Blizzard, really spammable Blizzard, really spammable Fairy moves, Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, a bunch of other stuff. Just makes Snow teams and Snow a lot better as a weather every time it's in the game. Ninetales. I'm going to put Ninetales in the A tier. It's going to come down to whether you want Ninetales on your team or Torkoal. Most of the time, you want a Torkoal on your team, just providing the Sun. But there are some scenarios where you want a more of an offensive Sunsteader. That way, that'll be able to outspeed a lot more stuff, because Torkoal is kind of slow, and there are some teams that want a faster Sunsteader. That can actually take advantage of it and not have to run like Trick Room or that type of thing. So it does have a niche. It's a Sunsetter out of a very limited pool of Sunsetters. So Noctowl, I wish this thing was good, but it's garbage. Plusle, wish this thing was good, it's garbage. I'm going to put Politoed in S tier. This thing's great. This will be the best Rain Setter in the entire game. 100%. Right now, the only Rain Setter we have are, I guess, Kyogre, but that's not allowed. And then Pelipper. But Pelipper, the problem with Pelipper is its support move pool really isn't the greatest. And it's not really as bulky as Politoed is. This thing also gets Helping Hand and also gets, I think, Perish Song and a few other things. So, probably the best Rain Setter after this thing goes into the game. Poliwrath, this thing has Swift Swim. So, like, if it's a decent Swift Swim Mon, I'll probably put it like a B tier for that alone, but there's just a lot of other better ones. Porygon Z, not too bad. Porygon 2, I'm probably going to put like an A tier. Really solid Trick Room Mon, and this thing with Eviolite, I think, is still going to be really good. It just depends on its move pool. Because there are a lot of moves this thing might actually get deleted off it and not have allowed. I think it used to get Toxic and a few other things, and we don't know if it's going to actually get those moves as of now. So it kind of depends on that as well. Primarine, I'm going to put an A+ tier. I think this thing's really underrated. It is a really good typing with the Fairy Water typing, which is not really common at all. It has one of the best spread water moves in the game with Sparkling Aria. It has a really good move pool. Really diverse move pool. I think it's like Energy Ball and a bunch of other crazy stuff. It has really solid bulk on this thing. At least specially, its physical isn't really in the best, but overall really solid mod. And I think it's base 65 or something, but if you really want to, you can maybe try to run in Trick Room, where it's more of like a really bulky type build. And it can usually eat everything. And the main thing it has going for it is it's a check to or Shifu that you don't have to Terra right out of the gate. So you resist the close combat and you resist Surging Strikes with your typing, which I think is the biggest thing this thing has going for it right now. At least when I'm making this, maybe Urshifu somehow falls off over the next few months, but at least when I'm making this, Urshifu and Fluttermane in like the top 2 usage. So, and they're like almost on every single team. Probopass, bad. Rampardos, incredibly high attack stat and could be good on Trick Room, but with how frail and like how bad the move pool is on it, it's not good. It has maybe like rock move, like Headlong or like Head Smash, and then maybe like 1 or 2 other moves, and that's about it. I guess if you don't count Terra, I guess. If you can probably Terra it now, but Reuniclus, B tier. Nothing with it really changed. It's a really bulky Psychic type Mon, which there is a lot of already in the game. Rhydon with an Eviolite could be decent. I'll put it like a B tier. I think Rhyperior is going to be a really solid Trick Room sweeper. It also gets, I think, Lightning Rod as well, which we don't really have apart from Raichu in the game right now, which is another really cool ability that could be pretty good. For Bombi, this thing's not that good. I'll put it as C tier because it has decent move pool. It gets Quiver Dance and stuff and has a really solid speed tier, but just way too frail. I think Alolan Sandslash could be really good. I'll put it like an A tier. Just mainly in weather, like mainly under like in snow. I think it would be really, really good. It also gets Terra this gen as well, which helps it out a lot. Regular Sandslash, not good. Sceptile, I think, can be decent with Unburdened, but apart from that, you're never going to really see it. Scrafty, I think, could be A tier. I think this thing with Terra is going to be really good. It also gets Moxie, Shed Skin, and Intimidate, and it gets a really solid move pool, really solid bulk. Gets Dragon Dance and a bunch of other stuff. It has its own recovery with Drain Punch and a few other things, so really solid mon. Another really cool mon that I'm actually really looking forward to using is Scrafty. Really cool mon. Shiftry in the Sun, I think this thing's going to be a decent Sun Sweeper. But there's just a lot of other Sun Sweepers now, and like at the same time, this is coming back at the same time as like Venusaur and Victory Bell and a few other things that actually are going to be coming back with Chlorophyll and being able to sweep in the sun, so kind of outshadowed by a few other mods, unfortunately, in the same time it's being added to the game. Venusaur, I'm going to put this thing in like an S tier. This thing's great. Probably the best Sun Sweeper in the entire game. Even then, you don't really even need to use it on Sun. You can just run this thing in like Terra Fire, or like Terra something with this thing, and it'd be really, really good. Sleep Powder, really Leech Seed, a really good solid move pool. Skarmory, I don't know what this thing does different than Corviknight. I really don't. I'll put it at C tier because it's not really as bad as anything in the D tier, but Smeargle, this thing's going to S tier. This thing's probably going to be on like every single team, just with the amount of like support moves this thing can get. And it can get any move in the game, so Darkrai is not in the game yet, but you're going to probably see this thing with like Follow Me, Spore, a bunch of other really nasty shit, maybe Fake Out, I don't know, Endeavor, there's a few other like really nasty support moves this thing also gets. Or at least it can learn, because it can learn every single move, so I think it's going to be really, really a real pain in the ass. I think a lot of teams are going to have to try like taking Taunt onto their team a lot more, just mainly for Smeargle with how much it's going to be played. Snorlax, I'll put in A tier. I didn't even know Swanna was coming back for this update. I really did not know. I just did not even know that until I logged into this tier list. I'll probably put it in D tier. It's not that good. It's not good. Tentacruel can be okay. I'll put it a B tier. Just mainly because it has a decent support move pool and it's decently fast and bulky. Torterra, man, this thing's a cool mon, but man, is it bad. I think it would be a lot better in singles. It technically is a little bit better because of Terra. You can get rid of your ice weakness, which is the main problem with it. But maybe under Trick Room, you could see some Trick Room teams around this thing, which is something I'm really looking forward to. Because I think under Trick Room with like a certain Terra, this thing has potential. Toucannon, really cool mon, but I don't think this thing's going to do shit at all. It's garbage. Trevenant, decent Trick Room mon, but apart from that, I don't think it's going to be that good. We have Victory Bell. This thing's going to be solid. At the same time, it's coming back in the same update as Venusaur is, and like Venusaur outshadows this thing in like every single way, pretty much, so Vikavolt, I think, is really good. I'm putting Vikavolt in A+ tier. A lot of people are sleeping on Vikavolt, but what a lot of people don't realize is this is one of the slowest mons in the game, and it's probably one of the best like special attacking mons that you can probably run in Trick Room when this thing gets dropped. A lot of people don't realize that. And then it also has Levitate, so you can like Terra this thing. You can Terra Electric and you have a Levitate, so you have no weakness. It's crazy. A lot of people aren't taking that into consideration either. Terra Electric Vikavolt in Trick Room sounds absolutely fucking scary. And you can't hit it for super effective damage. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's going to be really, really good. And that's something I really want to play with when this drops. Vileplume outshadowed by a lot of other stuff. Volbeat, this thing's... I'll put it in the same tier as Ilamuse, because I kind of do the same thing. I think this is Alolan Weezing. I'm not sure if Alolan Weezing and the normal Weezing both get neutralizing gas, but for the main reason why they both get, I think they both get neutralizing gas. Let's actually look right now. Put in Weezing. They both get neutralizing gas, so, and one of them actually gets Misty Surge, so I don't know if that's actually any good. I don't know, maybe with Misty Surge could be good as well. I'll put them in like a B tier just mainly because of their ability. I think neutralizing gas, being able to neutralize stuff like Unseen Fist and a few other like really key abilities that a lot of stuff has, which a lot of people aren't taking into consideration either. Like the Ruination mons, you actually pretty much like make irrelevant like Beads of Ruin and all those ones. like so you don't take the defense drop or anything. Those are negated with neutralizing gas, which I think is a really solid thing with wheezing. But at the same time, the mon itself really isn't that good. You're picking a mon for its ability, and that there's a lot of other stuff you can be picking. Whimsicott, this thing's going up to S tier. It's gonna be on every single team. This is the new best Tailwind and new best Prankster support mon in the entire game. I think the two best ones are still going to be Tornadus and then Whimsicott, which I think Whimsicott gets a few different support moves from Tornadus. I think mainly Helping Hand and a few other ones. So you're going to probably be seeing this on almost every single team. Yanmega, really cool mon, but I think this thing's going to be way better in singles. In VGC, it's pretty damn bad. I will probably be trying to make a singles team around it though, so if you guys want to see that possibly in the future, subscribe. And then we got Zebstrika, which I'll probably put like C tier. Just mainly for its immunity to electric. It gives you a really solid immunity, similar to like Electivire and a few other things. So if you need like an electric immunity on your team for some reason, it gives you that option, but apart from that, it's not that good. A mon that was really good back in Gen 5, and it was pretty solid back then, that just kind of got power crept over like the last few generations. It's just not that good anymore. Same with its move pool. It has Terra now, but like its move pool just is not that good. It gets electric moves and maybe like one or two other things, and that's about all it really gets. Apart from that though, that is, keep in mind Emboar and Superior are also on this list, but keep in mind that is the entire list, everybody. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If there's anything that I forgot that is not on this list that should have been added, let me know as well. Like I said, the only two that I noticed that weren't on this list were Superior and Emboar. And I guess Samurott, but Samurot's already in the game, so Samurott doesn't really count. Apart from that, let me know what do you guys think is going to be the most underrated new Pokemon coming with the Area Zero Treasures DLC here in a few weeks. Let me know in the comments down below, and what Pokemon you're most excited using. At least for me, the two that I'm most excited using are going to be probably Kingdra and probably Superior. Those are the two mons that I'm really looking forward to using on a team. I'll probably be building like 2 teams around both of those. Apart from that, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And there's going to be a lot of editing in this video, so holy shit. I think this video's been like an hour long now, so apart from that, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching.